Hello again. Today we're going to be discussing the inbox and Gmail, and this is specifically for Anna Hoffman. She was the one who this particular broadcast is mainly intended for, but anybody else who wants to get the same information obviously is welcome to it. And to be specifically talking about Anna Hoffman, we're going to concentrate on the desktop versions of Inbox versus Gmail because she's the one who is mostly using desktop right now. So that's what we're going to talk about. So I'd like to talk about the differences between the two, the similarities between the two. And if you already know Gmail fairly well, then you'll feel right at home because I'm going to be describing things and explaining what equivalents are in Gmail, so you'll have a much better understanding. Because Inbox is a little different beast in terms of what it does and what it tries to accomplish. And you know, one of the key questions that comes up is this a replacement for Gmail? And the answer is kind of yes and no. On one hand, it doesn't do everything that Gmail does, and it has some functionality that Gmail doesn't have. On the other hand, it's missing some functionality that Gmail has, and I don't know if they're going to get it or not. If you're looking at some of the documentation that they put for Inbox, they specifically, I mean, it's clear that it's the same emails that you get in Gmail and Inbox, so they're definitely tied. It's not like two separate entities, and you're looking at the same emails, just they're shown differently, and you're able to manipulate them differently. But at the same time, it's the same emails that you're dealing with. So from that standpoint, it makes sense that that the Inbox would become kind of the next generation of Gmail, but Gmail just released new mobile clients, and it's hard to say that if it's actually going to be a replacement or it's not. I'm hoping it is, because there's so many features in Inbox that are really nice that would be nice if they just made the same functionality that Gmail used to have available in Inbox and be done with it, and it's from the same team, but it's not totally 100% clear at this point whether that's the case, although I think that's exactly where they're moving to. I think eventually they'll probably surrender Gmail and just use Inbox instead for just about everything. So with that being said, what is Gmail and what is Inbox? Both of them are email clients. Both of them are available on both desktops and mobile platforms. And the big difference between Inbox and Gmail on mobile is that the mobile version of Inbox is very similar in terms of functionality and features to the desktop version. So essentially, you're running the same thing, whether you're running on a tablet, or whether you're running on Chromebook, or whether you're running on a desktop. It's basically the same functionality, same look, same features. Gmail is quite a bit different on mobile, with many features unavailable on mobile at this point. You can't do things like canned messages on mobile Gmail. You can't do quick links. It's all of the lab features that you have. They're not part of the mobile. So it's quite a bit different in that respect. Inbox seems to me that mostly it's pretty much almost identical on all different versions. So it's pretty cool. And let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And so instead of you looking at me, I'll be talking, but you'll be looking at the screen. Let's do that. Okay. So on the left here, I have Inbox. And on the right, you can see right here, I have Gmail. And as you can see, they look quite a bit different than, from one to the other. On the Inbox side, let's see if we got anything there. You can see that they basically they're using the new material design look, and Gmail doesn't quite do that yet. And this is obviously the desktop you're looking at. You can see totally different colors here, kind of very bright and colorful, at the same time pretty clean in terms of the look. Doesn't have the same kind of clutter, or at least looks like it's less cluttered than Gmail does. When you click on an email to open it, for example, like here, you can see it uses the Material Design's animation capabilities or features where it just kind of everything expands in and out. above and below to open up this email. And if I click next to it like this, it closes back up again. Any kind of attachments would be visible in these boxes right here. Over here, there is a video which you can just click and it'll open up and play in the player. Not directly in the email, but at least you can see. Let's close that down. You can see that a little bit about it and stuff right there and how long it is. So they have a bunch of additional information on Inbox that they typically show versus Gmail. Makes it a little bit nicer that way. And one of the things that they have, the way they piece things together, is the whole idea is they're calling it Inbox because Inbox is supposed to be a place where you have your email coming in, and then you take care of it somehow, and then ideally for a lot of people, that means that in the end your email is going to be taken care of, and then your inbox will be nice and clean with nothing in it. That's something that practically never happens with Gmail, the way most people use Gmail, but it's something that they made possible to do in this Inbox using some of the tools and features. So let's talk about some of the tools and features, and then we'll talk about similarities and differences. So we'll talk about the Inbox. So Inbox, as you can see on the left here, you got a pull-down menu, and they're using the same kind of layout and same capabilities as you see normally in mobile devices. So it makes it nice and consistent between desktop and mobile. And so if you pull it down, you see all kinds of things here. I got a huge list of all different things in there. And to make it simple, is what they do is they break things down into these categories, or as they call them, bundles. And one of them is the Inbox, that's the main one. And then they have something we'll cover in a minute here. They have something called special bundles that they have. I mean, special in the bundles, but special categories, updates and finance and social and promos. And these are similar to the categories you see on Gmail here. You got social, you got promos. So Gmail already had it split up, and they do the same thing here. It just shows up on the left side as opposed to showing across. The difference is that you can bundle all of these to be part of your inbox, or you can tell them to be outside your inbox. Like right now, my travel stuff, as you can see here, used to be in the inbox, but now it's bundled outside. Actually, no, I put it back. I take it back. I'm sorry, I put it back. And they have things like purchases and finance that we don't have in Gmail. But essentially, what these are nothing more. These bundles are nothing more than categories in Gmail. That's the easiest way to look at them, because that's what they are. Okay, just categories. The beauty is you can create your own categories here using this option. You can bundle those or put them together into Inbox if you want. So they're enabling you to have a little bit more functionality in terms of what you can create. And in addition to that, you also have to deal with initially labels that you used to have in Gmail, and I had a ton of them, as you can see here. And these are not even all of my labels here, but over here they brought them all over here on this side, and they're basically functioning a little bit more like folders than labels, but it's the same exact concept, and that's why they put them here. So you have exactly the same thing when you start Inbox. You have all your labels being in place, and essentially they act like what you normally do with a filter, when you set up a filter and you set up a label and you say, I want to show only emails that are part of that particular label, or even without filter. If you click on the label itself, it will show you just that particular emails for that particular label. It's the same thing here. So you click on this posting, and then you get whatever matches. Let's pick something else that's a little bit, has a little bit more than just one entry, like maybe Hearthstone, for example. And these emails come up like that. So it winds up being where you can just segregate your content by putting into these special folders, or in this particular case, in Gmail's case, would be labels, and they all wind up in the same place. So whatever you had on labels before would now be in these little folders on the left side there. Same exact thing, same exact functionality, same concept. Okay. Any of these things can also be bundled in the inbox, and then they would show up when you look at the inbox. They would show up under inbox as well. So you're able to bring certain things into the inbox display here, and see all of them together. So as you can see, I have my promos here in the inbox. I have the updates, very similar to Gmail. Like these, again, these are categories, and you have the emails within it. When you open the category like this by clicking on it, it shows you all the messages in that category, and you can see right here it says updates. So we're only looking at updates right now. And then you have the next same colorful display, and you can do whatever you want to do with the messages. So the deal about doing something with the messages, that's what segregates inbox from Gmail. Because in Gmail, the only thing you could do with the messages is you can archive them. That's one thing you could do. You can delete them. You can obviously display them. And you can also mark them. You can basically add them to tasks, which means you'll have a reference to this email in your tasks. And then your tasks, if you assign a date to it, you can show it on your calendar or just in tasks themselves. So those are the only things you can really do with emails. On this end, when you're looking at inbox, you can do a lot more things. And so one of the things you can do is you can pin them. And the easiest way to describe what pinning does, which is clicking on the little pin icon, it basically is very similar in terms of functionality to what on Gmail was a star. So you think of doing a pin, same as doing a star. And that way you can easily then go and look at just the pinned messages by moving this little item here by over here, this little pin icon. If you turn it on, then you see nothing but everything that got pinned, no matter where it's located. And you can see they're segregated in the inbox by date and chronological order. So you have today's things here, yesterday's, and then this month, and so on and so forth. So it's in reverse chronological order, the latest being at the top, which is pretty handy. And so this way you can easily mark things as you would do with stars, and then you can easily see them by just moving this over. The question becomes, what's the big deal? I mean, we could do it with a star. It's the same thing. I'm just describing that it does the same thing. But one big difference is whenever you pin something, okay, so let's say I take this message and I pin it, one of the things we would notice, if I pin it, one of the things that you would notice here is that it adds the remember to line here, and I can put some sort of message to myself to remind me of something. So think of it as a way to annotate your emails. Okay, you can put nothing in there, or you can put something in there. So on this is I need to use my free Uber offer by January, whatever. Doesn't matter. The bottom line is this is an easiest way. Number one, it's a way to organize a certain number of messages together, because you can just click on a little pin at the top and it shows you everything that was pinned. But another reason for using it is because you can then put in this additional description of any kind, and that makes it a nice way to kind of a reminder to yourself, if you will. It's not going to prompt you for anything in this particular case. It's just simply going to put this message in there for that particular email. And so it's a nice way to annotate emails, which is very, very handy for a lot of reasons. And now you have this functionality, you can annotate emails. The second thing next to the message you can see, in addition to that, you also have something called snoozing. And what you can do is you can snooze a message, and when you click on it, on this little clock, it says snooze until, and you can either snooze until later today or tomorrow, next week, or someday. And the option most likely you'll be using is this pick date and time, which when you click on it, it allows you to select any date. So let's say I'm going to snooze it till, let's say today at, let's put in 2:30. So I'm going to basically come back and snooze it until 2:30 p.m. and then it's going to come back. Okay, so the beauty is that this way I'm getting it out of my inbox, so it's not taking up any space. You notice that right now this message is gone. Okay, I can still get to it by going there because it was pinned. It would still be there somewhere. Uber. So there's the message there. I can still I'll be, in other words, okay, let me just back up a little bit. So it'll prompt me at the time and date when I specify. It'll prompt me back, and it's going to show me the message at that point, so I can take some kind of action on it. So it's a way for you to take existing messages that you have, and you can immediately snooze them till a certain time later, so they will not show up in your inbox until that time. So if you want to deal with something later, that's the easiest way to just get them out of your inbox. You indicate when you want to get back to it, and then they're going to come back and show up again. So it's a really convenient way to clean out your inbox, but still deal with messages on a timely basis in terms of when you need to deal with them. Very handy. Then the next icon that you have here is called, basically it's done. So it looks like a checkbox. And that means when you click on it, means you're completely done with that particular message. So if I don't care about this message anymore, I just click on done, and it disappears from display. It's no longer in the inbox. And it's no longer pinned because it's done. Okay, and that's a very convenient way to, again, clean out your inbox, where there's some things you need to do something with, you take care of them. The things that you don't care to do anything with, you just say you're done. So like this particular line is done. This particular one is done. And so this way you end up cleaning out your inbox very quickly, reasonably quickly, I should say, and getting rid of things that's done. So the only things that are left are things you need to work on. So that's what snoozing does. I'm sorry, that's what done does. And then snoozing allows you to get rid of them from your inbox temporarily, and then have them automatically come back to your inbox at the time that you indicated that snoozing will be over. So also very, very handy. Okay. One of the other features they have is they have this sweep thing. And what sweep does is, you can see there in the little pop-up, it says sweep means mark unpinned items as done. So anything that's a pinned will be marked as done, no matter how many messages you select. And to select messages, you just simply go ahead and mark as many as you want. Or if I don't even mark anything, select anything, if I just click on the sweep, it's going to go ahead and take care of all these messages that are here. It's going to say, you're going to be sweeping more than 92 messages. Are you sure you want to do this? And it's simply going to mark them as done and get them out of the inbox. And I don't want to sweep all these. And so when it's out of the inbox, then you can find them if you go to this done pull down here. So not being inbox is in the done, and you can see that they're all in the done category there. So again, it's a way to do the sweep. It moves them all to done, and anything you move to done, you can still get to them, but it winds up cleaning your inbox with a relative amount of ease and speed. And you can see these different sweeps come in at different points in time. So you can do it on an individual message, you can do it on a group of messages. Like if I did here, see I got more than 25 messages here. If I click on sweep here, it'll tell me it's going to go ahead and do them all. And I have an undo capability, so it'll put them back in. So on all of these things you're doing, you can do undo. And if there's too many messages, it'll prompt you, are you sure you want to do this? You do this and it's done. So there's a couple of different ways this way to get rid of things from the inbox. And things that you care to see, you pin them. And then you can also put some reminders on them. Things that you want to come back later to, you snooze. Things that you're done with, your markers done. And that's basically it. On Gmail side, obviously, you have similar capabilities. It's just not as easy to do because you usually select messages, and you can archive them. There is no difference between snooze and done. In Gmail, you just archive them. And then, of course, they're not coming back. Nice thing here is you can manage your inbox better, or your emails better, by having them come back to life again at a different point when you actually want to deal with them. So it makes it a really, really convenient email management tool on the inbox side. In terms of features, I guess we can just go down the list here. On the top here, you can see you have the pull down that has all the access to all the labels and access to the categories, as well as things like sent mail right there, and your drafts. So all of that works the same. One of the things notice there, they also have a reminder, because what you can also do is set up a separate reminder, and that reminder will remind you whenever it's time to do whatever you want to do. And we'll show you that in a minute. Here you have the search, which obviously works like Google search on Gmail, does the same kind of thing. The only difference here is when you click on it, it shows you people you typically interact with, or lately you've interacted with, I should say. It shows them their names and stuff, and some of the things you were looking for, and in terms of searches. So it's a little bit easier to immediately go and find messages with that, or you can search for anything you want there. In addition to that, up here you have the Hangouts. So you have a miniature version of Hangouts that you can initiate. And from the Hangouts here, I can say hello to David Amerland. And he'll probably think I want to talk to him, but I won't be able to right now. And then also you're able to see, whatever the last message was and stuff right there. And then over here you can see that you can also pull down right from the inbox. At the top here, you can pull down your notifications. So everything is basically at your fingertips. So there is some stuff David responded to, and Manic Bunny, and so on. So you can deal with them as you see fit, right from the inbox. And then also, of course, you have your apps navigation, where you can go to your Google Apps from there. So the stop bar has all the functionality you need. And then this, of course, switches your profiles to pages and so on and so forth. Right now, if you're using your Google for Domains account, like over here for Ben, for example, it says at pcs-works.com, which is Google domain account. It doesn't work yet. Inbox doesn't work for that just yet. So it's only for regular Google accounts, Gmail accounts. Okay, and then over here, at the top, you see the sweep thing for this, so I can do the sweep. The only problem with the sweep is if I do the sweep, it's going to do, more than just today's stuff. It basically does everything there is to sweep at this point, and that's what's a little confusing and also not recommended, because you wouldn't want to sweep all this stuff together. One of the gripes I have with the inbox, even though I will say for the record, I really like it, and I think if you learn how to use it and you start using some of these features that it has, you're able to really clean out your inbox pretty well and manage your mail much better than with Gmail. One of the main things that's missing is, for example, when I come in the morning and I want to deal with my emails, the first thing I do, let's say I wanted to deal with, let's say, social stuff here. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the select unread, and then it's going to select all these unread messages for me right there. And I'm going to go down the list very quickly here. And I want to say I want to watch this video. And we'll see what Lamar Wilson is up to. And that is pretty much it, I think, from everything else I can see. So I can scan it this quickly, and I don't really care about any other stuff. And I just simply hit delete key. And now all these messages are gone. The only one that's left is, the only two are left are these two that I actually want to see. There's no such functionality right now in Inbox, which makes my daily cleaning of things that I don't want impossible. I hope they add it. But again, if Google, anybody's listening to this, definitely put the select unread messages back in. I mean, not back in, but make it so it's available. Because here, the only way you can select all these messages here is by clicking on them one at a time. And that just takes too long. I mean, I get hundreds of messages a day. I'm not going to sit there and keep clicking. And so my alternative is I could always go and do the sweep. The only problem with doing the sweep is it winds up doing equivalent of archiving. And I don't want to archive promo from Voodoo. I don't want to archive this NWMLS, whatever it is. It's totally irrelevant to what I need to be able to find in my, it eats up space that I don't need. And number two, will come up with some search results potentially, which is nothing I'm interested in. So basically, what Google is encouraging with the current setup is archiving garbage, as far as I'm concerned. There's a tremendous, if you keep doing nothing but sweeps, you're going to be taking all the messages that come in that are not spam, but basically are spam as far as you're concerned, and it'll wind up sweeping all of them under the rug, so to speak, to keep the sweep metaphor. And then when you do searches, all of these things will come up. And I don't want all this stuff in my searches at all. I don't want them eating up space. I don't want them in my searches. I don't want them. And Google does not provide an easy way right now, like I do in Gmail, to do this. So that's one of the major omissions I hope they will fix. Another major omission is if I want to delete this message, I have to select it. So that's one. Well, this one I don't want to delete. Let's delete delete this one, for example. I selected. Now for me to delete it, what I have to do is I actually have to pull down the menu and select trash. That's how you delete messages on inbox. And that's just way, way too much effort. I mean, it's much easier to just have a delete button. And like in case you saw before on Gmail, all I have to do is select messages I want to delete. So let's say we go to forums category. I select all the unread messages right now, which is only one, but let's say that. And then I just go ahead and I click delete button. That's it. And I don't know why, I hope they're going to change it, why they couldn't put the little trash can, like they do on mobile apps, put them right here somewhere. You know, there's plenty of room here. They can make the search bar a little bit narrower and put the delete button on there, because that's one of the things you want. Or put it next to here. You can have it at this level too. One of the things I'd like them to see is, like it says today, let me click on today to select all the messages in today. Okay? I mean, it's not that difficult. They do have space right here. You know, let this month be selectable, let day be selectable, let forms be selectable. So if you click on it, it actually highlights, selects everything in that particular category, and then you can do whatever you want to do with them. So they're doing over here all these features where you're able to, you know, click and you can move things in different labels, different categories. You can remove it, you know, from existing category. You know, all these capabilities, move it to trash, move it to spam. That's all great, and you can sweep it, all that stuff. But I want to delete it, and so I have to go to this menu to be able to delete, and I have to select them manually one by one. Way too much work. Way too much work and stuff. So because of this, this is the only reason I would say this selection, being unable to select and delete with a single click, that's the only reason, main reason I should say right now, that I'm still using Gmail. Because otherwise I could have switched to Inbox mostly. Not totally, but mostly. There are some other things that are missing. So that's one kind of big omission. The second omission on the Inbox side is you don't have any of the labs features that you have in Gmail. For example, when I create messages in Gmail, all I have to do is create a new message, and then I have a bunch of canned messages that I use for different signatures, for example, because in Gmail you can't have more than one signature, but using canned messages you can. You don't have anything like canned messages right now in Inbox, and they'll probably add it. I hope they will add it because it'll be very useful. And you know, there's some other features as well that are in Gmail. Like for example, I have all these quick links. You can't do anything with this in Inbox. And of course, you have some gadgets you can put on the calendar, things like that. So that's not so important. But the deal like canned messages is definitely important. The deal like being able to select messages in bulk is important. So they should definitely add it, hopefully, in not too distant future. So if we look down at the display here, and just going through what else is there, as you can see this plus button, when you hover over it, it comes up and gives you all these different things here. And basically, the main deal is to compose a new message. So if you want to do a new message, you start it here. You click on it, and it'll come up with a window similar to Gmail. You choose it. If you want to have CC/BCC, you just click on that. And all of this obviously is tied to your Google Groups. All the emails, just in case people don't know, all of the emails are synchronized. So if you delete a message from Inbox, it'll be deleted from Gmail, and vice versa. If you archive message on Gmail, is going to be gone from the inbox on the Inbox side. If you move it, if you assign a certain label to it, then it's going to be under that label only in Inbox. But keep in mind that when you're looking at Gmail, then label names show up. You know, you would have your labels show up in different colors usually, right there with all the other messages. When you're doing Inbox, that's not the case. The only way you will see those messages in any particular label is by clicking on that particular label. Okay, so that's one big difference between Gmail and Inbox, is that if you actually put a label on it, that means on the Inbox side it's going to be under that folder only. It's not going to be in your inbox. Okay, so you can see the regular compose deal is similar. You can see it doesn't look quite as nice. It seems like the subject thing is kind of weird, the way it's bigger and kind of transparent, and it's a little different. In other words, it doesn't look quite as nice. The controls for various formatting options, as you can see, you don't have a color capability for the text itself. And there's some other things that are missing compared to the Gmail, so it's not as full-featured. You don't have ability to send money like you do with Gmail. You don't have ability to do the Drive stuff, attachments from there directly, although you could do it by clicking on the attach little attach guy, and then you can go to your Google Drive and obviously select it from there. So it's similar, but at the same time not as full-featured as Gmail is. So I'll close that. The next thing above it is basically a way for you to invite other people. So if anybody's looking for an invite, you still don't have one, as you can see, I have 5 left. Just shoot me a quick post and I'll send you one. Next one is the reminder. So it's not the same thing as reminder I showed you before, but it's ability for you to click on it and just create a reminder. So let's say by cookies. Actually, let's do cake. We're going to do cookies. By cake, and you can say then at that point you can either save it, or you can actually snooze it so the thing will come back and remind you. Because right now, see, it shows me as a reminder, it says buy cake, and it's sitting here. But if I wanted to snooze it, I can actually snooze it so it will come back later, which is pretty cool. And another thing about reminders is, let me just show you one more thing. You can also obviously delete reminders, and you can call them done. So whenever the reminder comes up, if you're done with it, you're done with it. Okay, so that's pretty handy. And if you click on snoozing, you get the same capability. And notice that I didn't talk about it earlier, but they have ability to, you can easily say, I want to snooze something till later today, let's say 7 p.m., tomorrow, or next week, or someday. And you can also specifically pick date and time when you want to snooze it to, which is pretty handy. And as you can see, my Uber deal is back in my inbox that I said I want to snooze till 2:30. So now 2:30 rolled around and immediately popped back in my, let's call this one down, in my inbox right there at the top, and it tells me it was snoozed, and then it's got my little reminder for it there as well, my little annotation. So very handy. I mean, the thing works great. I mean, nothing with this in Gmail, and makes it very, very convenient to quickly identify certain things you want to be able to get back to later. And of course, it'll come back and remind you. So very, very handy, very slick. Like I said, in terms of management of email, Inbox is far superior to Gmail, hands down. I mean, because of this ability to be able to mark things done, snooze things, business with being able to pin messages and have them stay there, being able to still, do the spamming and everything else. It's just a phenomenal way to manage your email. And let's see what else I want to cover. So then above the reminders, then you also have a few people that you usually deal with. And so it'll show these people here, so you can immediately click and it'll show their address, and you can just do a quick email to them from here. To be honest with you, this is kind of nifty, but it's also more gimmicky than nifty because they deal with a lot more than 3 people, and they only show 3. And the second person here, I deal with, it's not one of the people I would actually put in here to have here. You don't have any control over these things, so it's kind of interesting, but at the same time not specifically useful. So eventually, I'm sure reminders will be there, and this invites will go away. Maybe they'll add some more, but they certainly have room to add more functionality if need be. On the mobile version, I believe, in reminders, you can also specify the location. So in addition to being able to specify date and time, you can also specify location, which is an unbelievably useful feature because you're now able to get an email, and you can, let's say you got an email saying that there's a big sale going on at Staples this weekend, and somebody in the office told you that you're out of paper clips or something. So when you get this email from Staples about the big sale, you can just simply mark, make this, put a reminder on that to remind you when you're at Staples next time. And that way you don't have to be so rigid about which date and time. Whenever you're going to be at Staples, whenever you make it there, then it's going to come up and it's going to remind you that you need to buy some Staples. So it makes it very convenient to use the GPS thing. for reminders in addition to date and time, because a lot of times, you know, our schedule changes. I mean, we can't be very rigid and very strict about, you know, I'm going to be at Walmart on such and such date and such time. You may be, but you may not be. And so if you set it for a date and time, and then you wind up with a flat tire and you need to come the you know, another day, then your reminder won't do you much good because it already expired. This way, if you use it as a location, then when you're actually at Walmart, whenever that happens to be, then it's going to be, it'll remind you. So very, very convenient, very important feature to have. Obviously, don't need it for the desktop, but very convenient for the mobile. And since Anna is going to be getting her mobile phone soon, she'll be able to use this feature. All right, moving on here. So we covered the categories, we covered got snoozing, we got done, sweeps. Yeah, pretty much, I guess we covered most of the main things, and we also talked a little bit about the differences between the two, what Gmail has and Inbox does and vice versa. So again, the main thing to understand about Inbox, you know, just takes a little bit of time to get used to. But the main thing is it's not so much about how the mails are and how they show up and things like that. It's more about how you actually manage your email. That's where Inbox is far better than Gmail is. And you know, all these little things with material design are pretty nice. I mean, because you can go in and you can, you know, these little animations are kind of cool, and the colors are definitely more pleasing on the left than on the right. Everything is less cluttered, even though it's the same content. So that part makes it also nice. And I really like it. I mean, I think if they just added the ability to select multiple messages, groups of messages at the same time, like the Gmail did, and if they put the delete button there, I think that would be pretty close to, you know, I would even give up my canned messages at the time to just completely switch over and start using Inbox. And so I'm sure Google is going to be working, you know, it's going to be more releases and more features, but for the first release, I think they did a stellar job, and it works equally well on the mobile. You know, I've used it on my tablet, I use it on my phone, I use it on my computer here, and it's great. I mean, everything is synced, everything is works almost identically. The deal with, you know, snoozing is phenomenal in terms of notifications that come back and comes back in the reminders. I mean, it's just excellent. I think they did an excellent job on this. They just need to do a little bit more work on it, and it should be a killer product. In addition to that, you can also create, you know, let's say if I create a new label, I'm going to call it, when I save it, it can say, I mean, you can create as simple as that, and move to test label markers done. Okay, so that's, I already moved the message in there. What I can do also, I can go to here, and if I create labels from here, I didn't need to move anything, I just wanted to create a new one. Then, you know, one of the problems is, you know, they do this kind of stuff where you put in the same name since it already exists. But I guess it's somewhat helpful. Anyway, it would have been a lot nicer if they actually did a deal where you're typing in and it shows you which labels meet that particular criteria already, and then you can just select if you want to do a new one or do it this way. But anyway, you put in the name, it comes up with this thing, and then if you look at the interface, it says, what do you want to do with this particular folder? And it says automatically add messages. And so you can click on add, and it says, give me the criteria. What kind of messages do you want to add? So I can put in anything that comes from org@pcs.works.com, for example. And as you can see, as you type, it shows me the user, so I can select it that way. And then you can have, you know, any of these additional things, including subject, includes, excludes, and so on, which is pretty handy. And then it says, will apply to future messages like one below. And then you click on save, for example. And then it says, okay, what do you want to do with this thing? So basically, this is a situation similar to how the filters worked before, except it's a little different because they don't have all the same features, but you can see you're adding, if you're getting email from this address, and you can add more information, I mean, more criteria here, Then it says bundle them in inbox, and I can turn it on or off. So now it can be in the inbox, or it can be in just its own folder if you turn this off. And then it says show bundle as messages arrive once a day, once a week. So you can even control the arrival of these messages by saying, if anything comes in from this email address, I only want to show it, let's say, once a week. And so all these messages that come into this address would only show up once a week in the inbox in this particular case. Or if I turn this off, it'll be just in there. Or, and this is just, simple as that. And if you want them in the inbox, you can tell it, because obviously if you turn it off, then there's no need to specify when, because they'll be in that particular folder as soon as they come in. And you can click on it, you can see it. But if you want it in the inbox, it says, when do you want to show them? And so you have ability to say, only show me messages once a day, for example, at 7 a.m. that come from this particular email address. So again, a very different way to look at how your email comes to you, how it shows up, and then how you manage it afterwards. And it's very, very potent. I mean, if you just step back a little bit and think about these capabilities, it's pretty amazing that you can do some really nifty things. And in my case, I'm going to delete this thing because I don't need it, but you get the idea. You can set up as many of these things as you want, obviously, so it's pretty cool. So that's the creating of folders and filters. It's kind of part of the same process. One of the things they don't like is they put it in where they have this low priority thing, which shows messages that you said, I want to get back to it at some point in time, which means it's low priority. It's kind of semi-useless capability. It's basically saying that, to me, it's just the same as saying delete it, pretty much, or archive it and never touch it type deal. So I don't know what really useful that is. Kind of useless. Hopefully they'll just remove it. The other thing that's weird is they put in the create new thing at the bottom. So actually when you pull it up, especially on mobile, you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom to click on this create new, which is a little silly. They should have put it at the top. And of course your settings and feedback, all of that is also at the bottom, which also is silly because it would have been a lot easier if it was somewhere up on top here, right before the label start, maybe folder start. So, some of these things are not lethal in terms of what they've done, but at the same time, I think they could improve it some, at least in my mind, it could be improved and stuff. So that is that. And let's see, trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to cover here. I think we pretty much covered all the functionality in terms of what the different features are. It's not difficult to get used to it. I mean, if you start using it, then you'll get used to it. So looking at categories, you can see they're nice and colorful. New messages will show up like this. And you can see that the messages, if they have more than one message, then it shows you who these messages are from. So you have an idea of, if you have a few messages, where they're from. So you can kind of see it all at a glance. If you want to open it up and see the details, then you click on it, and of course you see all the details over here. And if you want to see an individual messages, you just click on it and it shows the message right there. No idea why I got this message, but I guess we'll deal with it. Anyway, so this message here, let's say I don't want to deal with it till tomorrow. I'm just going to go ahead and click snooze, or later today, let's say, and then click later today, and it's gone. As simple as that. And let's say I wanted to deal with this message and this message and these messages here tomorrow. And then I can go ahead and click on the snooze at the top. See, it says 3 selected. I can either pin them, or I can snooze them, or I can done them. Click on done, or I can put them in trash or spam from the menu here. So I'm going to say snooze till tomorrow, and they're gone. And so as you can see, it's very fluid, very easy. It's exceptionally quick. I mean, the new Gmail is really fast too now, but this thing is just stellar. I mean, you click on the stuff and it's there. It doesn't take much time to open, all the graphics, everything. I haven't seen these messages yet. Boom, there it is. And so I just trash it, and it's gone. Very nice. I mean, they did a beautiful job speed-wise. It's just stellar. I could not ask for anything faster than this. And that's it. If you have any specific question, and then also down here you can see it says move to trash, undo. So the undo stays there for about, I don't know, 5 seconds. So if you really want to, delete something, you just go and delete it. If you have something else that you decided to delete, and you decided, oh my God, no, I don't want to delete it, you just click undo and it comes right back. So not a problem at all. They have undo on everything. If I want to do a sweep, I can undo that. But pretty much everything you do, you can undo using that. So that's pretty much it. Again, the bottom line summary is that Inbox is really, really cool to use. I really like it. I would like them to add some more features to it, but overall, it's an excellent job Google did with the first version. And it is definitely much more capable in managing your email than Gmail was. And at the same time, you still have access to all the same emails. And you can certainly use them in parallel. I mean, I use it in parallel right now because this multi-delete deal they don't have yet. So I just do it on Gmail. And of course, Inbox automatically synchronizes, and it's all looking at the same, basically, base for what these messages are. So everything is in sync immediately. And it's great. I mean, I definitely recommend it. And if you do have any questions, feel free to contact me via Google Plus or on my business page or on my personal page. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.